Preface. The 45-second presentation is all one needs to know to start building a large organization. In fact, if one cannot learn this presentation, they can read it to a friend or put it on a 3x5 card and let their friends read it for themselves. Beyond this presentation, you do not need to know anything. Once you realize this and understand, you can introduce your business to anyone because absolutely anyone can build a business if they want to. All they really need is a little desire. Without desire, you have nothing. The secret to the system we teach is not to talk. Talking is your worst enemy. The more you talk, the more the prospect thinks they cannot do what you are doing. The more you talk, the more they think they don't have time. Remember, time is the #1 excuse people have for not getting started. After your friend reads the 45-second presentation, they may ask you a question. Regardless of what the question is, if you answer it, you lose. They will have 5 more questions before you know it. You will be bouncing all over the place. Simply tell them that they will have a lot of questions and that the system is designed to answer most of them. Have them read the first 4 napkin presentations and then get back to you. Never tell the prospect to read the book. They will set it on the shelf and get to it in due time. Tell them to read the first 4 napkin presentations. They will read it right away, and over 90% will finish the book at the same time. After reading the book, your prospect will understand network marketing. This is important because the #1 reason people don't do the business is because they don't understand it. Now they will understand network marketing and they will be ready for you to present your vehicle, company, products, and marketing plan. But I said you don't have to know anything other than the 45-second presentation to get started. So now what do? At this point, you would use the tools or your team to do the talking for you. Tools would be brochures, audio tapes, and videotapes from your company. Your team would be your immediate upline, starting with the person who will be your sponsor. Let's say you have your first prospect. You have done the 45-second presentation and they have read the book. You invite your prospect to meet you for lunch. Let them know you will also be inviting your sponsor who can explain the business on your behalf. Key point. Who pays for lunch? You do. Your sponsor is working for you. How many times would you have to buy your sponsor lunch or dinner before you could explain the business on your own? We had a man come up to us at a seminar in Germany and say, not only do you not need to know anything to get started, you could also have a free lunch every day when you are working for your downline. Happy eating and watch your business grow. Chapter 1. Introduction to MLM. Multi-level marketing is one of the fastest growing yet most misunderstood methods of moving products in use today. It has been termed by many as the thing of the 90s. Believe me, it will go far beyond that. By 2010, more than $200 billion worth of products and services will be moving annually through multi-level marketing companies. Watch out for MLM in the 21st century. The purpose of this book is to convey to you, the reader, through illustrations and examples just what multi-level marketing is and what it is not. We will also show you how you can effectively, I repeat, effectively explain multi-level marketing to others. This book should be treated as a training manual. It is intended to be used as a tool to help you train the people in your organization, included in their initial kit of information about your program. I developed the napkin presentation upon which this book is based in 1973. I have been involved in multi-level marketing to one degree or another since 1969. This book will cover the 10 presentations developed thus far. Before going into the details of the 10 napkin presentations, allow me to answer one of the most frequently asked and probably the most basic of all questions. What is MLM? The question is asked quite frequently in response to a button we often wear. Throughout this book, we shall use MLM and multi-level marketing interchangeably. Let's break it down. Marketing simply means moving a product or service from the manufacturer or provider to the consumer. Multi-level refers to the system of compensation provided to those persons who are causing the product to move or the service to be provided. Multi means more than one, and level refers to what may be better termed as generation. It could be called multi-generation marketing. We will stay with multi-level since that is what is most common. It is so common, in fact, that many illegal pyramids and chain distribution schemes or chain letters try to pass themselves off as being multi-level programs. This creates such a stigma, although unjustified, that many of the newer MLM companies are using other names for their type of marketing. Some of the names you will hear are unilevel marketing, network marketing, and co-op mass marketing. There are really only 3 basic methods of moving products. Hold up 3 fingers as you demonstrate this point. 1. Retailing. I'm sure everyone is familiar with retailing. The grocery store, the drugstore, the department store. Going into a store and buying something is retail. 2. Direct sales would usually, but not always, include insurance, cookware, encyclopedias, etc. Fuller Brush, the Avon Lady, Tupperware Home Parties, etc. are some examples of direct sales efforts. 3. Multi-level marketing, MLM, is the one we will be discussing in this book. It should not be confused with the other 2, especially with the direct sales method with which MLM commonly is confused. A 4th type of marketing that is sometimes added to the list, hold up a 4th finger, is mail order. Mail order can be an MLM type, but most generally is included in the direct sales category. A 5th type, often confused with MLM, I have already mentioned, is pyramid sales. The fact is, pyramids are illegal. One of the main reasons they are illegal is their failure to move a product or to provide a valid service. If a product doesn't move, how can you even call it marketing, let alone multi-level marketing? Multi-level they may be, but marketing they are not. Most objections that people have about getting into multi-level marketing are due to not realizing the differences between MLM and the direct sales methods of marketing. This confusion is understandable because most reputable MLM companies belong to the Direct Selling Association. You've been conditioned, perhaps, to think of them as door-to-door direct sales programs because your first encounter with them was when a distributor knocked on your door to sell you something. There are some features that differentiate MLM from retail and direct sales companies. One very significant difference is that in MLM, you're in business for yourself, but not by yourself. By being in business for yourself, whether or not, but especially if you are operating out of your home, you may be entitled to some substantial tax breaks. We won't get into tax advantages in this book. Most people can get that information from their accountant or from the many books that have been written on the subject. Being in business for yourself, you're buying the products wholesale from the company you're representing. This means that you can, and should, use these items for your own consumption. Many people get involved in a company at first for this reason alone, to buy wholesale, and many of those will get serious. Since you're buying your products at wholesale, you can, if you wish to, sell those products at retail and make a profit. The most common misunderstanding about MLM is the notion that you have to sell retail to be successful. There is a lot to be said for selling retail, and it should not be ignored. Some programs even require that a retail quota be met in order to qualify for a bonus. You may sell if you want to, or have to due to a particular program's requirements, but in regard to making the larger sums of income, the real success is in building the organization. Important point. Let your sales come as a natural result of building the organization. More people fail than succeed by trying to do it the other way around. They try to build the organization by emphasizing selling. As you read through the napkin presentations that follow, you will see this concept unfold before you. The word selling triggers negative thoughts in the minds of about 95% of the people. In MLM, you don't need to sell the products in the traditional sense of the word. However, product does have to move, or nobody gets paid. I define selling as calling on strangers and trying to sell them something they may neither need nor want. Again, product has to move or nobody gets paid. Another name for MLM is network marketing. When you build an organization, you're actually building a network through which you can channel your products. Retailing is the foundation of network marketing. Sales in MLM or network marketing come from distributors sharing with their friends, neighbors, and relatives. They never have to talk to strangers. To build a large, successful business, you need a balance. You need to sponsor and teach MLM, and in the process of doing this, you can build a customer base by retailing to your friends, neighbors, and relatives. Don't try to sell the world on your program yourself. Remember that network marketing, or MLM, is building an organization in which a lot of distributors retail a little. This is far better than a few trying to do it all. With virtually all MLM companies, the need to spend large sums of money on advertising is non-existent. Advertising is done almost exclusively by word of mouth. For this reason, they have more money to put into product development. As a result, they usually have a higher product quality than their counterpart found in retail stores. You can share with a friend a high-quality product of a type that they're already using. You are simply replacing their old brand with something that you have discovered through your own experience to be better. So you see, it's not going door to door every day calling on strangers. All network or MLM programs that I know of teach that if you simply share the quality of their products or services with friends, that is all the selling that is involved. I prefer to call it sharing because that's what it is. Another thing that differentiates MLM from direct sales is the sponsoring of other distributors. In direct sales, and even in some MLM companies, it's called recruiting. However, sponsoring and recruiting are definitely not the same thing. You sponsor someone, then teach them how to do what you are doing, building a business of their own. I emphasize that there is a big difference between sponsoring someone and just signing them up. When you sponsor someone, you are making a commitment to them. If you're not willing to make that commitment, then you're doing them a disservice by signing them up. At this point, all you need to be is willing to help them build a business of their own. This book will be an invaluable tool in showing you what and how to do just that. It is a responsibility of a sponsor to teach the people they bring into a business all they know about that business. Things such as how to order products and keep records, how to get started, how to build and train their organization, etc. This book will go a long way toward making you able to meet that responsibility. Sponsoring is what makes a multi-level marketing business grow. As your organization grows, you are building towards becoming an independent, successful business person. You are your own boss. With direct selling companies, you work for the company. If you decide to quit that company and move to another area, you end up having to start all over again. In almost all of the MLM programs that I'm aware of, you can move to another area of the country and sponsor people without losing the volume generated by the group you left behind. In multi-level marketing programs, you can make a lot of money. It takes a little longer with some companies than it does with others, but making a lot of money comes from building an organization, not by just selling the product. To be sure, you can make a good living in some programs by just selling the product, but you can make a fortune by building an organization as your primary function. People will get started in a multi-level business with the idea of making $50, $100, or even $200 per month, and suddenly they will realize that if they want to get serious about the business, they could be making $1,000 or $2,000 per month or more. Again, remember that a person doesn't make that kind of money by just selling the products. They make that kind of money by building an organization. That is the purpose of this book, to teach you the things you need to know to be able to build an organization and to build it fast, to develop certain and proper attitudes about MLM. If a person thinks multi-level marketing is illegal, having a connotation of being like a pyramid, and they do make that comparison, you are going to have trouble sponsoring them. You must teach them the facts to eliminate their attitude of mistaking a true multi-level marketing organization for a pyramid. One example you could show them is the pyramid on page 3 of the included diagram book. The pyramid is built from the top down, and only those in at the very beginning can ever be near the top. In the MLM triangle, everybody starts at the bottom and has the opportunity to build a large organization. A new person can build an organization many times larger than his sponsor's organization if he wants. The main objective is to get your prospect into a general discussion concerning MLM and explain with your 3 fingers the difference between retailing, direct sales, and multi-level marketing. Then you will have a good start at sponsoring them in your particular MLM vehicle. As I stated earlier, by the year 2010, MLM will be doing in excess of $200 billion annually. That is a big business. Most people don't realize that MLM is that big. Multi-level marketing has been in our midst for over 50 years. Some companies have been around for over 45 years and are already doing $1 billion per year by themselves. I know of one company that did $6.5 million in its first year of operation. In its second year, it made over $62 million. For their third year, they projected $122 million. They are on track to hit $1 billion per year by their 10th year. The principles expounded in this book will make that goal reachable. That's a pretty fast start in anybody's league. Multi-level marketing is one of the viable ways for an inventor or manufacturer to put a new product on the market without having $1 million and without having to totally give up their product to someone else. Chapter 2. Napkin presentation number 1. 2 times 2 is 4. This one you can show a person before they see the program or the vehicle you want to share with them. It is an absolute must to show them this presentation as soon after you have introduced them to your program as you can. You want their thinking to be going in the right direction from day one. What this will do is take the proverbial monkey off their back in thinking they have to go out and sponsor the world to make a large amount of money in multi-level marketing. This presentation will also show them how important it is to work with their people and help them to get started. This presentation starts by your writing down 2 times 2 is 4, etc., and multiplying on down as shown on page 3 of the included diagram book. I tell a joke on people that if they sponsor someone who can't do this right here, pass, because you are going to have trouble working with them. Notice that we start using the word sponsor now. To the right of the 2 times 2 column, write 3 times 3, saying, over here you sponsor 3 people and you teach. We also start to use the word teach. These 3 to sponsor 3, making 9 more. When you teach your 3 people how to teach those 9 to sponsor, and now you have 27. Going on down one more level, you will have 81. Notice the difference between 16 and 81. Bring it to their attention and ask them if they would agree that it's a pretty good difference. Then point out to them the real difference is 1. Everybody only sponsored 1 more. You will usually pick up some reaction from this, but continue right on. It gets better. Let's say you sponsor 4 people into the business. Moving to the right of the 3 times 3 column, you again run down a column of figures, writing them down as you speak. Let's see what happens if everybody sponsored 2 more. As you continue to write, say, you sponsor 4 and teach them to sponsor 4. Then you help your 4 to teach the 16 they have to sponsor 4, adding 64 to your group. Working down only 1 more level, and before you know it, your group has 256 more. And again you point out, now that's getting to be a considerable difference right there. But you will usually catch some sort of reaction again as they begin to pick up on the concept, and cutting in, they will say before you do, the real difference is that everybody only sponsored 2 more. We end it with 5. They will usually pick up on it by now and mentally or verbally follow right along with you as you write in the final column of figures. By now, you can leave out sponsoring and teaching, writing down the figures and commenting 5 times 5 is 25 times 5 is 125 times 5 is 625. Now that is a fantastic difference. Again, the real difference is that everybody only had to sponsor 3 more. Most people can relate to sponsoring 1, 2, or 3 more, but usually find it difficult to relate to the figures on the bottom line. 16, 81. Chapter 3, Napkin Presentation Number 2, Salesman Failure Syndrome. Why do so many salesmen fail when working in a multi-level marketing business? This number 2 presentation will clarify the common mistakes made by sales-oriented professionals. Let me explain why we would rather sponsor 10 teachers than 10 salesmen. Now, don't get me wrong. I think professional salesmen can be a tremendous asset to your organization if, like everyone else, they go through the 10 napkin presentations and thoroughly understand them. Most people get confused by the statement above. But remember, they still don't understand that MLM is a method of marketing. We are not sponsoring people in a direct sales organization. We are sponsoring them in a multi-level marketing program. Much of the time, the problem you will have with a salesman is that when they see the high quality of the products you represent, they just launch out and take off, so to speak. They can put their own presentation together. They don't need us to tell them how to sell. They're the professional. The point is, we don't want to tell them how to sell. We just want to teach them how to teach and sponsor and build a large, successful multi-level marketing organization. And they, and anyone for that matter, can do just that without selling anything in the normal sense and definition of the word selling. If you can't sit down with them and explain a few simple things about multi-level marketing and why it is different than direct selling, the tendency is for them to go off in the wrong direction. As we continue on with the napkin presentations, we will give you a few examples. Most people think, especially salesmen, that if you sponsor someone, you have duplicated your effort. Draw one circle under the other. There was one, and now there are two. It sounds logical, but that's not true. The reason it's not true is that if the one represented by the top circle, sponsor, goes away, the one they sponsored will go away also. They won't continue on. You must explain to your people that if they truly want to duplicate themselves, they have to be at least 3 levels deep. Only then are they duplicated. If your sponsor dropped out before you had an opportunity to see that the program really will work, you most likely will assume that it doesn't because it didn't for him. After all, he's your sponsor and certainly must know more about it than you. Let's say that you're here. Draw a circle and put you in the middle of it. You sponsor Tom. Draw another circle under the one with you in it, write Tom in it, and connect the circles with a line. Now if you leave and Tom doesn't know what you do because you haven't taught him, then that's the end of it. But if you do teach Tom how to sponsor and he sponsors Carol, you are only beginning to duplicate yourself. But if Tom doesn't learn how to teach Carol to sponsor, then again it will fizzle out and that's the end of it. You have to teach Tom how to teach Carol how to sponsor. Then she can sponsor Betty or whomever. Now you are 3 deep. If you go away to work with someone else or to a different area of the country, this subgroup will continue on. I emphasize, you have to go 3 deep. You have nothing until you are 3 deep, and only then are you duplicated. If you never communicate anything but this one point to the people you sponsor, then you will have the key that will make you more successful than most others in multi-level marketing programs. Here's what happens to the salesman. He looks at the demonstrations of the products, hears or reads of the testimonials of the results others have had with their use, and how they work. Armed with this information, just get out of his way, and he will go out and sell like crazy. Remember, they're salesmen. They have been in the direct selling business, and they don't have any problem calling on strangers. Great. So you say to your super salesman, let's call him Charlie, Charlie, if you want to make the big bucks, you cannot do it by yourself. You need to sponsor people. So what does Charlie do? He goes out and sponsors. He will just sponsor up a storm. A good salesman in a multi-level marketing program could sponsor 3 to 4 people per week. But here is what happens. It gets to a point, and it doesn't take long, that people are dropping out as fast as they're being added. If you don't work with them effectively, and you can't be effective if you are trying to work with more than 5 at a time, you will see them becoming discouraged and giving up. So Charlie, being discouraged and a little impatient, doesn't think anything is happening, and he goes off to look for something else to sell. The person who sponsored Charlie, thinking Charlie was going to make them rich, gets discouraged and gives up also. Most people who have made it big in MLM don't have a sales background. They may not be teachers professionally, but most of them come from a background with an element of teaching in it. I know of one teacher and school principal who, after only 24 months in a multi-level marketing program, was earning in excess of $15,000 per month. He did it and is doing it by teaching others how to do it also. Let's put some numbers in Charlie's approach so we can more clearly see what went wrong. We will assume that Charlie, being the super salesman that he is, went out and sponsored 130 people. Let's also say that he got each of them to sponsor 5 others, adding 650 more for a total of 780 in his organization. Sound familiar? Ask your people this question when you show this to them. Which do you feel you could do more quickly? Sponsor 5 people who are serious and teach them how to teach, or, incidentally, the question will come up, what do I teach them? The answer is, you teach them what you are learning right here in this book, the 10 napkin presentations. They need to have an understanding of all 10, but initially the first 4 will work. Teach them that 2 times 2 equals 4, and why people fail, etc. How long do you think it would take for you to sponsor 130 people? How many of the first ones would be left when you sponsored number 130? You would find that you are losing them pretty fast. Yet you will discover the retention rate on the 780 in napkin presentation number 1 to be quite high. Once you show this to a salesman and the salesman understands it, they will say, "Aha, now I see what I've got to do," and they will go do it. Caution, you must hold them back because they don't understand what we have just gone over in this chapter. Most people in MLM will literally encourage their people right out of the business. They will sponsor someone and their new distributor will come to them and say, "Hey, I got 5 new people last week." So you say, "Great," and encouragingly slap them on the back. The following week, they sign up 5 more people. What has become of the 5 they signed up last week? They're gone. If you understand this salesman failure syndrome, you can still encourage them, but at the same time, stress the point of how important it is to take those first 5 you sponsored and help them get started. After I've sponsored someone, it's more important for me to go with them and help them sponsor someone else than it is for me to go out and sponsor another person for myself. I just cannot emphasize this point too much. This point will come up again in a couple of other presentations. Of the 10 napkin presentations, the first 4 are really a must. If you don't have time for all of them, at least get started with number 1 and number 2, chapters 2 and 3. You can show them to someone, depending on how much you elaborate, in as quickly as 5 to 10 minutes once you've practiced them. In one of the programs I was involved in, I sponsored this fellow named Carl. Carl told me about sponsoring his daughter in Tennessee and that she knew everybody in town. I was talking to Carl on the phone and related to him that I thought it was great. I quickly added, however, that I needed to tell him something to pass on to his daughter. I asked him if he had a piece of paper and pencil handy, which he did, and I asked him, write down 2 times 2 is 4, and write on through it. I instructed him to immediately phone his daughter and let her know the mistakes to avoid to get her started in the right direction. He did call her, and it's working out very well for the both of them. Chapter 4, Napkin Presentation Number 3. 4 things you have to do. In the first presentations, we told you some of the things to do. And in the second presentation, we told you some things not to do, as far as working in depth with your organization. In this napkin presentation, we will show you 4 things you have to do to be successful in a multi-level marketing program. These 4 things are an absolute must. Everybody in multi-level marketing who is making $100,000 or $200,000 per year and more did and is doing these 4 things. To help you remember these 4 things, I have paralleled the points to a story which you can relate to your people. They will not only pick up on the parallel, but will remember the have-to-dos also. The way the story goes is this. Let's imagine you want to take a trip in the family car and leave rainy Washington, it really isn't as bad as some people like to make it out to be, and drive to sunny California. The sunshine in California will represent reaching the top in the program that you're in. When you get there, you are successful. You're at the top. The first thing you have to do is get in and get started. There isn't anybody in MLM who has made a lot of money unless they first got started. The amount of money it takes to get started depends on the company and the program you choose as your vehicle. It can range from nothing on up to $1,250, $45, $100, $200, or even $500 or more. The second thing you need to do as you take this trip is buy gas and oil. As you travel to the top, California, you will use up the fuel and oil products, and it will be necessary to replace them. MLM works best with products that are consumable. You will use the products up and buy them again and again. You must use the products of the company you represent yourself. Remember, we showed you in napkin presentation number 1 that with 780 distributors, it doesn't matter which program you're in. You will have a very sizable volume. Naturally, you can see the advantages of building a business with a vehicle that has consumable products. Most multi-level companies are in that category. Non-consumables are usually marketed through retail or direct sales methods, but not always. The other result of using the products yourself is you will get excited about them. Rather than spend a large sum of money on advertising, MLM companies put their money into product development and as a result will usually have a higher quality product than that which is normally available in a retail store. The third thing you have to do is get into high gear. Of course you realize that nobody starts out in high gear. We all start out in neutral. Incidentally, notice that we are not driving an automatic. We may be in the car, still in the driveway, with the key turned on and the motor racing, but if we never get out of neutral, we will never get to California, or anywhere else for that matter. To get your car into gear, you must sponsor someone into the business. When you sponsor someone, you are in first gear. I believe you should be in first gear 5 times, with 5 serious people. In one of the other presentations, I show you how to determine which of your people are serious. You will want your 5 people to get into gear also. You teach them how to get into first gear by sponsoring someone. When each of your 5 people is in first gear 5 times, you will be in second gear 25 times. Teach your people to teach their 5 to get into first gear 5 times. They are now in second gear 25 times each, and that puts you in third gear 125 times. When you have third-level distributors in your organization, you are in third gear. Have you noticed how much smoother your car runs in fourth gear? So does your organization. You want to be in high gear, fourth gear, as soon as you can. When your first levels are in third gear, you will be in fourth gear. Naturally, you want your people to be in high or fourth gear as well, and when they are, you are in overdrive. How do you get into overdrive? You simply help teach the people you sponsored to get their people into third gear, which puts them into fourth gear and puts you in overdrive. The fourth thing, while you are on your journey to California, is to use the time you have to share your products with the people who are going with you. Let them try them. Let them experience the benefits of the product. When they want to know where they can get them, guess what you do at that point? So share with your friends. For a number of people, this is the retailing part of the business. At this point, it is important to notice that as we went through napkin presentation number 1 and number 2, and now here at number 3, we've told you the 4 things you have to do to be successful. Not once did we tell you that you have to go out and sell. We say you don't have to go out and sell the products in the normal sense of the word sell. We do say you need to share the products with your friends. You can even share them with strangers. When they see the benefits of your products and your marketing plan, they will become new friends. You don't even need a large number of customers, say 10 or even less. If all you ever had was 10 customers, hey, that's okay. All it means is item number 4 is a very small portion. So what if we cover up the 4 altogether? You could still get to California by doing the first 3. Notice, however, if you didn't do number 3, get into high gear, and did a lot of number 4, you would never get out of the driveway. That's what salesmen do. Once you understand this and tie it in with number 1 and number 2, you start developing the proper MLM attitude. Starting from square one with your new person, you want to get into their subconscious the number 5. All you need to do is find 5 serious people who want to get serious about the business. When you run into people and ask them how they are doing, you may hear the response, "Gee, I can't find anyone who wants to sell." There's that word sell again. Quit looking for people who want to sell. Start looking for people who want to earn $600, $1,200, or $1,500 per month without having to go to work every day. Do you or they know anybody like that? Your answer and theirs, like mine, will be, yeah, everybody. Well, those are the people you want to talk to, because everybody would like to have that kind of dough coming in. Simply point out that it may take 5 or 10 hours a week of their spare time to build a business. But then we hasten to say, what's wrong with that? People sometimes get into MLM programs and think somehow it's going to happen just because they signed up. Not so. Remember, the car we are driving to California does not have an automatic transmission. I know, and surely you know, people who have gone to college to get a degree. And there is absolutely nothing wrong with that. Maybe you're one of them. You go to school every day, you study all day and half the night, week after week, for years. Then when you finally graduate, how much money can you make? So give 5 to 10 hours of your time each week to learning the 10 napkin presentations and everything you can about the MLM company you're representing. When you learn and understand them, you can teach the napkin presentations to others. This book is the key to tomorrow's success. We don't want you to get uptight by thinking you can't teach someone what you are learning here. Sure, this may be the first time you've read or heard these concepts, and we really can't expect you to know it all well enough to teach it. But then you don't have to. Remember, to get into a multi-level marketing program, you have to have a sponsor. If your sponsor is a real sponsor, he will help you with your first 5 people. Notice, it's a helping relationship. It's the process of showing the napkin presentations to your friends at meetings, one-on-one or in groups. Your sponsor is training you as well. As a suggestion, we ask that you get some sort of goal for yourself. When you are about 20% up the ladder in your program, you should know and understand the 10 napkin presentations. By the time you get 3/4 of the way, you should be able to teach others. When you are at or near the top, you will be able to teach your people to teach others. It's something beneficial that you can master over a relatively short period of time. With this book and or the CD on the same subject, you can sit down and read and study or listen to the CD again, and again. If you were given an assignment to do the above and you had to go through the material 5, 6, or even 10 times, and a year from now it meant you could be making $2, $3, $4, or even $6,000 a month, is it worth spending 5 or 10 hours a week? Now you have to admit, that's a pretty neat way to go to school, right? Take a look at some of those college textbooks and trying to learn what they contain. They're not going to make that kind of money for you. Welcome to MLM University. 4 things you have to do. 1. Get in, get started. 2. Use the products. 3. Shift into high gear. And 4. Share with friends. Retail.